So now, this is what happens when I forget to put a card in my camera when I'm going off to do a shoot somewhere. It's just a casual shoot, went to my local town, walking through the park, parked the car, switched the camera on, no card in camera because I took some pictures yesterday and I'd taken the card out and I'd forgotten to move the pictures off the card and put the card back in. Simple mistake. But kind of pertinent because there was a bit of me that was sort of thinking about finding time to make pictures, which is quite difficult for me. The grumpy old man part of me wants to say, with apologies to George Bernard Shaw, that youth is wasted on the young. And sort of, but when I think like that, right away the logical side of me steps in and questions this. But not for the reason I originally thought. The original reason, you see, is I mean, the usual stuff that comes up would be something along the lines of, oh, you had to go on your journey to get to this point and you wouldn't have been ready to do it until now. Take these pictures until now, start photography until now. And that's trite. And to be honest, it's untrue. If I subscribe to that, I'm not being honest with myself. I've gone through my life looking at things, watching, hypervigilance in my youth, and later on anxiety driven self-exclusion through my teens and 20s. Substance use was able to break that anxiety down temporarily, but the return was inevitable and pretty soon outweighed any benefit that gave to me. And it took me a while to work that out. When I say while, I mean years to work that out, and that cost me and the people around me a lot. So as that was going on, it was kind of morphing as well into managing my engagement with others fairly strictly via sort of clearly defined activities where I knew my role and I knew their role. DJing, game playing online and augmented reality games as well. Education, going to university. What was that, 10, 12 years ago now? 11, 12 years ago. Counselling others. And now, photography. It's fairly clear, there's this lovely barrier between me and the subject in the camera and the way that my thinking helps me construct what it is I'm trying to photograph, and then how I publish that out, how I push that out via social media. Also, this as well. The opportunity cost of that way of being, or this way of being, because it's it still happens now, has been staggering. I look back and I think about it. I don't get angry with myself because of it. It's just, it is there. It is a part of what's happened. But to circle back to Shaw, it looks like my youth was wasted on me. So I find myself in my mid-50s with no clear career path towards retirement and few options, to be honest. I work a full-time job that includes weekends, mornings, evenings, and leaving little time that I can structure for commitments outside the role. Occasional attendance at a camera club is probably the best I could manage. But luckily, as the world adapts to life after COVID, it seems that things are becoming more flexible and some opportunities are starting to appear that I could take advantage of. The way that education has had to shift to a more open access model, for example, has meant that I may now be able to access a master's degree in 2023-4 while continuing to work and actually never visiting the campus, if there's enough interest for the university to run it, that is. That there might be more than one opportunity there. My oldest has been at university right through COVID, and seems to have benefited from it. So I'm going to keep a close eye on several opportunities that might pop up. So that's one side of it, but actually getting to the taking of the photographs, an approach to making time photography has been taken by the Minutiae app. There's a prompt, you take a picture, you have a minute to browse your timeline or one of a random stranger, and over time it's built into a unique archive. It happens every day, and every day every subscriber at the same time, this is across the world, gets that prompt. So 40 minutes per day, is that right? 6, 12, yeah, 1,440 minutes a day. So that's how many photos you get through the year, and I think you can make a book out of those as well. That's been around for about 5 years. I saw it a couple of years ago and thought, oh, but never got around to subscribing. Might be worth a go. And that leads me to think that the time is there if I choose to look for it. It's exasperating while I'm not doing what I enjoy. If I'm barreling down the road and I drive past something, I think, I wish I could stop there and take that picture. You know, working full time is a means towards doing more photography. So the question for me is, how do I organise myself so that I can take advantage of any time that comes into my day to make that picture? Maybe the first thing is to actually be prepared. Putting a card in the camera turns out to be vital. That's why I'm here. I've got a grip on my EOS R, so I'm going to, it takes a couple of batteries, so I'm going to put a couple in there and turn various settings off on the camera, like the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth. And I'm going to leave the camera on so that it's always ready to go. I'll give that a go, and I'll see what difference that makes. I'll also start to use the Minutiae app and try to get used to making pictures at the drop of a hat. The takeaway from this, I think, is make the time. What suggestions do you have? Please, some feedback would be great. Thanks very much for your time. I'll be back soon.